Hey folks, hope you guys are doing well as usual, and welcome to another eCity Explorer video. I wanted to make this video last week, but the bank holiday weekend, the weather was so bad. I was basically stuck indoors, and on the Monday when I wanted to do it, it was just raining all day, so I decided to put it off for a week. I'm in a different park. This is One Tree Hill Park, and it's got really good views of London if you're ever in this area. And you can actually, from here, you can actually see the city and the Millennium Wheel, a few other famous buildings. I think the Shard there. You used to be able to see it a bit better, but they've built some apartments about 2 or 3 miles away, and they're actually blocking the view now. But before, you could see, you had a lot better view of the city. Anyway, so this is a 1 month update on the Fiido L3. So I've had this for about 5 weeks. The first week I didn't really ride it that much because I was on holiday, but I've ridden it basically every single day to work for the last month, and I've done, let's have a look here, done almost 600 miles on this. So I'm not sure if in the bright sunlight the camera will pick it up, but I've done 591 miles, and I can report that I've had absolutely no problems with this bike so far at all. It has got me to work and back every single day in the rain, you know, in the cold weather, and I've had no problems with it at all. I've had no problems with the electrics on it. They've run fine. I've had no punches with it. The tires have been really good here. They've lasted. The front tire has got more tread than the back, obviously, but there's still been no problems at all on that. The back tire is getting a little bit more worn, and I will have to change it sometime. But at the moment, I'm still hoping to get, you know, somewhere between maybe 5 and 10,000 miles off it. Battery is fine. It's getting warmer now finally, because the weather was so bad in the UK for the last month. It basically was like really cold, and so that was like draining the battery a bit more. I was using 3 bars to get to work and back. Now the last week, since it's warmed up, like Thursday, Friday, I'm only using 2 bars, so it's roughly costing me 8 pence a day to get to work and back, because there's 5 bars and it's roughly 4p per bar to charge it. So it's going really well. There's only one thing that I have to report. I'm still getting some kind of intermittent problems with the horn, which is in the front light. I find in the morning, if I shake this, the horn will work, but sometimes it doesn't. So when I first go out to ride it, I just give the horn, I just give the cord a bit of a shake here. There's a loose connection somewhere, but I can't find it, and I've pulled all this apart, so I'm not sure whether it's just pulling on a wire or not. I did replace the horn with a different one that Fiido sent me, but it didn't seem to make any difference at all. So, but that is the only problem. I've had no problems with any of the other electrics or the controller, you know, going dead because of water. I just did a video actually. I just replaced these back brakes, the pads, not the whole brake assembly, and let's see if I can get in there. And I put new ones on it because I thought the old ones were looking a bit worn, but when I pulled them out, they were actually still really good. I'd only done about 250 miles on the original resin brakes that came with these X-Tech zooms, but I decided to put some new pads in because I heard the resin ones weren't that good, and the braking was a little bit spongy in wet weather, but nowhere near as bad as the original Fiido brakes. So now The only problem I've had is I changed the pads about an hour ago, and I was actually going to go and do a ride to the Northala Hills on it, just to test out the brakes and everything. And the brakes, the pads got really, I think that they were scraping a little bit too much, because they got hot, and they locked up on the actual disc. So I don't know whether I just needed to bed them in a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, after I finish this video, I'm just going to like ride around my local area just to make sure the brakes, the pads are working okay, and there's no problems, because when I get up to go to work, you know, at 6:30 in the morning and leave and everything, I don't, you know, need any problems with the bike. But that is the only problem I've had in the last, you know, month since I've had it, and that is because I changed to these resin, changed to these new pads. And these new pads are supposed to be, they got copper in them, and some other stuff, so they're supposed to dissipate the heat a bit better. So I'm going to find out how well they're going to do. If I keep having problems with them today, like in another half an hour when I've ridden it, what I'll do is in the evening I'll change back and I'll put the original pads back in there, just so I don't have any, you know, just so I don't have any trouble getting to work tomorrow. But I'm hoping if I ride it round, I'm going to ride it in the local area for another half an hour, try and do about 5 or 10 miles, just, you know, around the block, because when the pads did lock up, I did have to push it home, because they were, you know, the wheel was locking up, it was that tight. And then when they cooled down, the wheel freed up again. So I'm not sure if it's just like they were bedding in a bit, or they're a little bit tight. I did back off the brake lever here a bit, because I had that like up here quite tight, and so then I've put it back here, so that might have helped a bit in not, you know, not making them stick a bit, but they were sticking. So yeah, but that's that was due to me, really. So it wasn't really the bike or anything. I bought another little gadget as well. So this is a Wolfang GA420. It's supposed to be like, I mean, it does 4K 60 frames, but it's not, you know, it's not very good. So if you're thinking like, is this GoPro or Insta360 or DJI level recording, it's not. But I've put a couple of videos on the channel with this, so if you're, you know, interested in getting a budget action camera, you can have a look at something like this and see if it's, you know, worthwhile. To be honest, I'd never owned a action camera before, so this was the first one I bought, and I will upgrade in the next 2-3 months. I'm waiting for like the new models to come out in September, so I'm just going to hang off, and then I'll go out and buy a GoPro or something just to improve the footage when I do rides and that. But for now it's kind of okay, and the stabilization actually works quite well on it. If you're like riding on city streets that are quite smooth, it's not too bad. If you're on really bumpy stuff, it does shake a bit, but you know, it's understandable, because it's not, you know, it's less than £100 for this camera, you know, compared to, you know, £300-400 for the more expensive ones. So that's about it. I don't have anything else really to report. This little L3 has got me to work now for a month without any problems at all. Super reliable, saved me this month. I've done a full month on it, and I was paying £73, I think, when TfL increased their fares. So I've saved basically £300 this month on this bike. You know, when you're saving £300, it really only takes a couple of months to pay for a bike like this. And like I said, if I, you know, in one of my previous videos, if I get a year to 2 years off this bike, you know, I will have saved myself, in 2 years, I will have saved myself close to 6,000 quid, you know. So 6,000 quid on a little bike like this, not paying TfL, you know, weekly travel card, is like a lot of money in that. So it's like been really good. The mirrors are still okay. I've gotten a bit they're still okay. There's no problems. I use them a lot. And actually, one of the things I forgot to tell you with this, one of the reasons why I bought this little Wolfang camera is what you can do is you can Wi-Fi the camera to your mobile phone, right? And you use the iSmart DV2 app, I think. I'll try and put a link in the description for that as well. And so what happens is, like, if you mount your phone here, you know, like I can't do it, but if your phone is mounted like this, and then what I do is I put this camera here, put this mount here, it's got this mount here, and then I mount it on the back facing backwards, right? So what happens is, what this does is it basically gives you like a rear view mirror, but you can set it for 3 different angles, like wide, medium, or narrow. And so when you're cycling through like London, you can see if any other cars are coming up behind you, which is good. It's not absolutely perfect. I have it set on the narrow setting because that gives you the best view of how close the actual cars are. If you remember, I think in that Jurassic Park movie where Sam Neill was driving that Jeep, and in the mirror I had the object is closer than it looks. Well, if you compare it to this camera and you're looking at it, the object is slightly further away than it looks, but it still gives you a good indication of if there's anything behind you. And I use it a lot. I used it like for, you know, all week, unless I put it on the front and did the actual rides. So it helped me knowing how far, you know, if there are any cars behind me, and when I'm pulling up at like lights or wanting to do a right turn, then I can stop, you know, make sure there's nothing behind me, and then, you know, I can take my time if there's oncoming cars. So that's actually a good little, quite useful for a cheap budget action camera. I don't know if they all do it, like the GoPros and stuff. Maybe you can like Wi-Fi them to your phone and use them as a, you know, external video source. I don't know if you can do that, but I know this one works quite well. If you read the iSmart DV2 app, like it's got really poor ratings. It's got like, I think the rating is like 1.3. That's how low it is. I mean, that's absolutely terrible for an Android app. And I don't know if you can get this on, you probably still can get it on like iPhones, you know, if you want to use your iPhone. But 1.3 is a terrible rating for the for an app. But I had no trouble. It connected straight away to my phone, and I used it for like 4 days last week, and it only ever dropped out once. The Wi-Fi connection went dead once, and I think that was because the battery in the battery in the camera actually got low, and then it dropped the Wi-Fi connection. I think that's what happened. I'm getting about I would say fully charged, I might be able to get close to 2 hours of use from this little camera, at least an hour and a half. So obviously, you know, it's not as good as all the really, really expensive cameras. And, you know, it has got, I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up. Yeah, it has got, let's see, might be able to see it. It says 4K 60 frames, but, you know, that's like unusable really. So, and the 1080 footage is not that great. I have it set to like 4K, and it's still, you know, it's not as good as the really expensive cameras, but, you know, for 100 quid it's okay. So yeah, and so I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to buy the same brake pads. I think they were 12 or 13 pounds or something, maybe 14 pounds, and you get 4 sets of them for 14 pounds. And I'll do an update in a week probably, just to let you know if I'm having any problems with these brakes or pads or anything. And like I said, I did do a whole video on how to actually change these pads, and then for some reason, I don't know why, my phone just deleted the video. I'm not sure why it just like stopped working, and I went to look at it. I was going to load it up onto the channel and there was no video there. So but I will, once I've tested these pads for like a couple of weeks, if I decide to replace the front pads, it won't be for at least a couple of months though, because the pads were not actually that worn down. But when I decide to replace them, I will do another video on how to change these pads again on these X-Tech brakes. So yeah, so that is it, folks. That is 1 month and almost 600 miles I've done on this. That's like London to Edinburgh on a on an e-bike. It's quite impressive. And once again, like I said, no problems from this little thing so far. It's been working perfectly. So thanks a lot if you've made it to the end of this video. It's really good, and I hope you found something useful again off this. And it would, as usual, it would really help the channel if you would like and subscribe. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again next week or whenever I make the next video. Thank you.